And what's the next one?
Yeah, so the next one is we have to add a commitment step. We don't want to write contracts before probably 60 days before we start, for two reasons. Number one, psychologically, and number two, just because of pricing volatility. Once somebody actually signs a dotted line, right, signs that contract, they're completely 100% emotionally invested and they want to get going now. So to ask that person to sit on their hands for 6 months or more is not a good idea. So we want to avoid writing that contract, and in turn, we want to add another commitment step. So think of it this way. If you're a home builder, you start off with a lot reservation. If you do custom design, maybe you and then ask for a custom design. And then historically, you've gone to a purchase agreement or a contract. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go from design to, say, something like a letter of intent. And the letter of intent, ideally, it's non-refundable money, where that person, has a design done. You've been able to give them a budget. Now, it's not firm because obviously you can't price anything because you're too far from starting. So you give them a budget, and then they'll put down additional money, and that additional money is going to be used to hold a slot in your production process. And that's something we'll start talking about next month, is slot selling and how you need to be using that here this year with the demands that we have on our production departments. So adding that commitment step keeps them in the loop, but they're not expecting firm pricing yet because you don't have a contract. So that buys you time to finish selections, finish engineering, finish design, go ahead and get everything priced, and then you don't have to give them a firm price until 60 days or less from the time of starting.
That's sounds like a very practical idea, and it's very smart one. So
yeah, I always used to say, how do I get somebody off the street? Is like once they come in and they're interested in what I have to offer, I want to take them off the street so they're not talking to my competitors. So you look for small commitment steps in order to do your due diligence to get them to the contract. So this is just adding another commitment step, which is still counterintuitive, because if someone's really going to write a contract, historically we've always said, okay, stop selling and write the contract. Get them while they're hot. And so now essentially what we're doing is we are flipping the script and we're saying, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, we're not going to write a contract yet, but what we can do is we can put you into a letter of commitment, and this is what you're going to get from it, and this is what's required of you, and this is what we'll provide for you for making that commitment.
Very smart. Very smart.